And if it wasn't worth what you're missing out on, you wouldn't be here. I'm a naturopathic doctor from Minnesota, soon Minnesota. You don't have skeeters here, do you? No. Well, we have skeeters, so the July, August, and winter, we have one part of the time we call it mosquitoes. And I would like to, at some point, tell you, mosquitoes are really not your enemy anyway. They're telling you if your body's sick. So you who get bit the most are the one that's got the most stagnant pond on the inside, and that's why bugs bite you. But anyway, maybe we'll get back to that. The order of what I like to do, I like to teach as much as I can. It's going to go pretty fast. It's almost like cramming for the finals and you didn't know you're in school. We cover so much that normally, even if we did this on my average Saturday seminar, which goes from like 9 o'clock till about 5 or 6, we still wouldn't cover everything I brought. Now, I have a lot to share, and what will happen is that you're going to find things that match with you and some that don't. So save your questions, and we'll go to we'll have time to ask questions, but I'll cover some basic parameters about disease. You're going to have the benefit of enjoying healthy coffee or chocolate, which is just part of the commercial or infomercial that makes it so you don't get charged to come and sit underneath all this years of training that have been handed on to me. I'm a third-generation herbalist. My grandpa Paul was never sick in his life. He passed on when he felt like it. In other words, he told everybody he's going home, but died in his sleep. He didn't have body parts missing. He had never had to go to the hospital except one time to get some ribs checked when a horse stamped on him. My dad was not so fortunate. They came up with a thing called silver fillings. My dad was ill almost his whole life until finally he got all his silver fillings removed, and then he had a degree of health that he'd never experienced all the time we were growing up. So inside of our house, he was always looking through the health books, trying to figure out how to get healthy and how to keep us healthy. Some of those clues I will hand on to you because you'll find that today's society we've gotten sicker and sicker and sicker. And in 1990, across the border, over 50% of the Americans the Minnesotans, the people from Minnesota, over half the Minnesotans in 1990 got cancer in their lifetime. And it's way worse now. The only way that you live in Minnesota, who's from Minnesota here? Now, South Dakota doesn't have any cancer, but Minnesota has a lot of it. But I say about the only way that you're going to miss out on having cancer in your lifetime was you need to die of something traumatic like an accident before you get to those years. Your only chance of having a good life without body parts missing, without pain in your body, is if you come out on a goofy night like this, fighting the rain and the weather, missing out on your commercials back at home. The detour sign, somebody led you to the detour sign. Now, I was fortunate having been raised inside of that. When I was diagnosed with lung cancer, and then I just goofed off and thought just nutrition will take care of it, and then it went to the liver, lymph nodes, and brain. Even though I was inside of this family where I was raised to eat healthy, I got smarter than my dad. I started drinking Dr. Pepper. What could it hurt? Well, I just about lost my life over drinking soda pop. And if you want to get off the planet with a lot of suffering, and a few decades early, you go ahead and drink soda pop. There is nothing good about it, except it covers up the ugly taste of your gross city water that's in that soda pop. You've gotten tricked if you're drinking anything but water. And even, I'll tell you this right now, there is some sugar in some of this Gano. So don't go goofy on us. Don't be drinking it all day long like you do your other coffees and things like that. Don't go goofy. In other words, don't do things in excess. You should have learned that by now if you're over third grade. Even a third grader, you go out there and make them clean out the calf barn for about 5 hours. They'll tell you that excess of anything like that is not good. So we do a lot of excesses in our life, and we somehow think that we're going to benefit by covering up or duct taping the weak spots of our life. I say that we're a spiritual being in a trace mineral body. If you look on the board here, trace mineral body, electrically stimulated and emotionally controlled. So I'll just touch on each one. I'm not going to cover a whole lot on the spirit part, except to say this. When I'm trying to help someone get past dis-ease, the body's not happy, dis-ease, If I can get them to recognize that you came here as a spirit being to have a human experience, not a human being that came here to have a spiritual experience, I can get you on your path towards getting your health a whole lot quicker. Some of us keep thinking one day, maybe somewhere out in the blue yonder, we're going to have a spiritual experience, and then we'll know why we're put on planet Earth. I suggest look at this from the other side. You're a spirit being that's stuck in an earth suit that complains a whole lot if you don't treat it with some basic laws of common sense, or a way that you were created so that you would put something healthy in, then you can expect something healthy to happen. If you keep putting in garbage, why would you have a good life? And then you hear these kids that, they get to be 30, 35, now 40, maybe if they're lucky. If I was going to know and I was going to live this long, I would have took better care of myself. Anybody ever hear that? Yeah. Well, you got to die of something. I say, well, why don't you jump out in the dark, close the middle, in a semi, let a semi run you over. At least we know what you died of. You died of a Mack truck. Some of the arrogance about ignorance kind of irritates me. And you'll see me pull a little sarcasm once in a while in my speaking. Because it's like we've got this attitude that we can just go duct tape our life back together, or just have it, the messenger in your body. Oh, I'm so messed up here. You got to be perfect to stand up in front here. But the ignorance is one thing about your health, but to be arrogant about your ignorance is what causes me to get a little sarcastic. And I run into it with some of the most educated individuals you can imagine. And so you're going to find me pull out some little phrases, and I might step on some toes. But you need to step on some people's toes if they're locked in thinking that to kill the messenger is the way to take care of anything wrong with a human. Be thankful that your body's smart enough to have pain. Pain is your indicator that something needs to be taken care of. It's like I have this little, if you're going down the freeway of life and you see a little light going flash and says hot, hot, hot. Well, shoot, that's no problem. We've got insurance to cover anything that goes wrong. Up until then, we just reach in the glove box, we bring out some duct tape, slap it over the dash, it says Tylenol, and we just fixed it, didn't we? And then you go a little further down the road, and you see oil, and you got funny noises under the hood. You look in the mirror, and you got smoke all over the place. Everybody's passing you on the freeway of life, and so you say, we'll let you in there, see if there's some other duct tape. We need some more duct tape. So you get some bigger roll yet, and you stick it over that left dash over there that says oil, and it says ibuprofen. And sure, we took care of it, didn't we? Then finally, we just, I better make an appointment with a mechanic. And you just crawl along, and you look, certified registered mechanic. You pull in, and out comes the mechanic with his little clipboard. Lifts the hood, you hear some noises, clip, clip, some stuff laying out on the ground, did a little operation. You don't need that anymore anyway. Then they slam the hood down after they finish with you, and they come back and say, we've done all that's mechanically possible. But you know what? You're lucky. They just started classes over here at the clinic on Tuesday nights to teach you how to get along on the freeway of life at 20 miles an hour. Would you pay your mechanic if they did that to your car?
No.
You'd sue them. Aren't you worth as much as your car? There's countries where if the doctor doesn't get you well, he doesn't get paid. There's countries where if the transmission falls out of your car or quits going down the road after it's been at the shop, they don't get paid. You take them to court. There's other countries where if your house roof caved in, the contractor would probably be hunted down and they would take his license to build you a house. How about you and your body? So it's time that we start to look for and demand for something better than just duct tape. Something better than cut and clip. I asked this surgeon, a friend of mine, how come you're so quick to take out body parts? He said, we were taught the theory of Darwinism that your body's evolved to where it no longer needs them. Do you think that's... Well, let's look at the gallbladder. How many of you still have your gallbladder? Whoa, we got some missing or else their hands don't go up. Shall we just see if everybody's hands can go up? Then I'll ask again. Okay. So, you ladies especially, and go talk to your nurses. Is there any registered nurses in here that would admit it? Okay, well, I have RN can stand for really necessary, but I have found a few that resist natural. RN. You know what I call medical doctors? Now I'll be nice, because I got this from a medical doctor. He asked me what kind of doctor I was, and I said I'm a naturopath doctor. ND means no drugs. And I said, I heard you're an MD. Does that mean more drugs? And he folds his hands like this and he goes, MD represents my own deity. Anyway, we need them for trauma. We need everybody. In this last few weeks, I've really gotten to know some more doctors and nurses, and I'm so glad they're there because I sure can't handle an accident victim. I don't know how to put the bones back together. But let's hurry up and run to health, not overdosing with antibiotics, but let's use some natural, like colostrum, which we don't have any of here, but if you guys have a health food store, you can find colostrum. South Dakota is famous for growing the best colostrum we can find in this country. I don't know if anybody know that, but colostrum used to be only, you had to sneak around to get it, now you can get it over the counter. Thanks to a friend of mine who brought it out. I should never wear long sleeves, it's too hot in here. Is it warm in here? You people, all your bodies are hot. Maybe you're all anyway. What I want to purpose tonight is to teach you a few of the pieces so you don't have to duct tape your life. Everybody in here has something that they're going to have to face between here and the funeral. Very few of you will get to die healthy and happy and be totally in sync and a body without any dis-ease. It's amazing how many cancer survivors I run into that suffered traumatically to get back to their life. And I'm glad to see there's a few. As far as lung cancer, both of us can get on the same car and go have and both of us in Minnesota, I know, that are lung cancer survivors. That's not enough to have you in a reunion with. There's some breast cancer survivors, and there's a few others, ones with prostate, and some of those. But there are some cancers you don't want to monkey with very long. There's very few people that survive those. And so if I can teach you how to mend the fence before the horse gets out, it's a whole lot easier than chasing that horse down the road and trying to drag it back to the barn without a halter. Because most of the people don't even want to be dragged back to the barn. They're so sure that they've got everything figured out for their life, usually a good insurance policy, and then you see them suffer, and you see them suffer some more, and then you guys get to go to the funeral. I'd like to suggest we need to start looking back what used to work. And so let's go back to what used to work inside the house. I'll just give you some hints. How many of you still have a cast iron skillet? Good. How many of you are cooking on aluminum? Don't raise your hands because I'll pick on you. Don't even feed your cat or dog out of an aluminum dish. You'll make them sick. But for the convenience of the weight, because we're so sick we get carpal tunnel, we can't handle the cast iron anymore, we went to the aluminum, and now we get to die from toxic shock or get to have Alzheimer's and don't even know why. Oh, you know what's good about Alzheimer's? You can hide your own Easter eggs. That's about all that's good about it. I have a device up here. We had a lot of fun getting people past Alzheimer's. That's cool. If they hadn't talked for a couple of years, and you take this little spinner, about 15 minutes a day, and all of a sudden one day they'll start talking like they never missed a minute. And what they tell you might shock you. So be careful what you say around people that are sitting in their Alzheimer's stupor. Just hold it by the head. This works for broken bones and eye problems of all types, especially cataracts and blindness and things like that. This right here, if I was smart and wanted to become wealthy and didn't want to travel and work so hard, I would have just gone off and built a whole lot of these, run an infomercial, and then retired. Said, this is just one of the little deals, part of my life to help some people get well. Really good for people with cartilage problems. I've had accident victims. One lady with a broken hip in 2 weeks completely healed. She had to wander the hospital for 2 more weeks to make it fit on the HMO. Anyway, I better get you a quiet one. It'll be on the...
I need to look at it.
Oh, okay. But that's just one of the ways that maybe to bring back part of your body to health so that you can start to enjoy life.